If you want to support the channel, please consider becoming a member today. Members get early access to videos, access to all the stream VODs, and exclusive access to emotes as well. So if you'd like to support the channel, become a member today.
Feminism is basically it's cognitive dissonance. Women are either superheroes and empowered and can do anything and take on the world and be astronauts and everything, the world is your fucking oyster, or they're also victims, hopeless, horrible victims at the same time.
Title of this video is Why Men Are Shamed for Not Saving Promiscuous Women.
Do I have to play that? I have to hit play? Okay.
Yeah, as long as you don't get me banned for it, that's fine.
Men need to grow up, firstly. And men need to stop being cowards.
Come on.
Secondly,
It's your
you
fault,
see
man.
a woman walking down the street minding her business. You approach her. You say everything that you know she would like to hear.
I've
You
seen
get
it.
her defenses down. Once her defenses are lowered, you then go in there, take what you want, and then you leave.
Sinister, bad, bad,
Doing
bad.
so, you leave and repeat the cycle elsewhere. You do it again, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again.
Cue the sad
You
music.
scarred a whole bunch of women. The men who follow you now have to do the work to help heal these women.
The men have
And
to
half
do
the
the work.
time, these women end up destroying these men because they don't know how to believe that they're worthy of love because of what you've done to them.
But you've done to
Children
them.
that they bear have to live with the scars that you have inflicted on these women. The other thing a lot of guys don't realize in practicing this behavior.
I think this guy's phrasing is bad. I think that's weird. He is kind of making it sound like it's a guy, like the men's responsibility almost. A better way, I mean, what he's getting at least, is simply that when you're in a relationship with somebody who is using you, that's going to fuck you up mentally, and it might not make you an ideal partner for the next person. I think that's really all he's getting at. It's literally what these red pillars do all the time, where it's they create the problem, then they contribute to the problem, then they complain about the problem, and then they profit from the problem.
There's a karmic consequence to this. You don't get away with it. You never get away with it. So you find.
So are these guys like mocking this guy? Like, do they think it's a good idea to go around just sleeping around and like using people like this guy described?
Many guys who are out here playing these games at some point decide, I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to do the right thing.
And what do they want?
And
what do they want? They
they
want a
want love,
woman with no blemishes,
with no
with no
blemishes.
past issues, with no baggage, with no troubles, with no issues
That
from
is
their past
fucking
relationships.
standards,
And even
bro.
if you get that woman, because of who you are, and because you have, triggered a set of consequences, she might end up hurting you, even worse than you hurt the other people, because who you are is teaching her how to treat you.
Again, that guy's phrasing probably could have been a little bit better, but ultimately, in many ways, I think he was making some good points there. I mean, obviously, his whole thing with like, you want somebody without a blemish. I don't like that. I don't like the notion that a woman having means that she's now blemished. But generally, like the notion that if you treat people badly, you're going to kind of attract people similarly, and that can end up hurting you as well.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
that before.
Women have absolutely zero agency. They have zero agency. They are mindless, shapeless balls of goo, and men are responsible for everything.
He's wearing
We're the ones that trick and fool them. They don't make this.
Wow. Suddenly, this guy's insight compared to the insight I just gave, whew, every day I am blown away by the fact how much I overestimate other people's abilities to reason.
And men are responsible for everything.
He's wearing
We're the ones that trick and fool them. They don't make decisions for themselves. It's all our fault. We got to see.
Wasn't the point of the video about guys who do trick women? About how when you trick women and use them like that, that it's going to come back around and bite you in the ass? Wasn't that generally the point he was getting at?
Save the hose, man. You know what's funny is I used this video. I think it was Hafiz. I think Hafiz was talking about, he had this analogy. So people don't, like, whenever I use this analogy, people go, what the f is Roll talking about? But I think it was like about 8 months ago, maybe even 9 months ago. Hafiz from the Roommates, who is now quote unquote retired from the red pill, but not really retired from the red pill. he was talking about, he made this analogy, and you never make metaphors or analogies online, just saying. But in this case, I thought it was actually kind of apt, but he was right, but for the wrong reasons. But his analogy was licking the ice cream. And the licking the ice cream analogy goes something like this. Okay. Imagine an ice cream store, and it's at 31 Flint, Baskin Robbins, right? So, and all of these ice cream, like, you know, you go into Baskin Robbins and there's like a big giant, you know, tub of ice cream or whatever, and they're all fresh. They all have the little seed.
Where are we going with this?
Only certain guys are allowed to go into the ice cream store, and those guys go in the ice cream store, and then they proceed to take the lids off of every one of these little tons of ice cream, and lick the ice cream, right? And eat it up and lick it, and then they leave, right? And then when regular average guys can get into the ice cream store, then they find that all the ice cream's already been licked, and it's like nobody wants the ice cream that's already been licked because somebody got their dirty ass germs all over it, and it's ruined the ice cream. The analogy.
Funny how that analogy is completely disanalogous the minute you realize that that's not how it works with unless there was like an STD or something involved, something permanent and long lasting. If a woman has multiple sex partners, do you think you're literally unironically making the argument that she is actually defiled? Like, not even metaphorically, like you're trying to say that she's actually made dirty because of this. Have you ever used your rational male brain to consider that maybe women can take showers and use soap? Somebody coming in and just licking ice cream is a little bit different than, say, maybe a woman who has had multiple relationships. Maybe that's why she had multiple partners. Maybe it was because each person, there was a deep, meaningful relationship there, and it just didn't work out long term.
Is that exactly what this guy was just talking about a minute ago? Is that because there's these evil, sinister players who actually have the ability to go into the ice cream store before any of the other guys get to go to the ice cream store. I thought was funny because it's really.
Why do they have that ability? What? Like, your analogy doesn't make any sense. Why do they have that ability? The video you're reacting to is talking about guys who were manipulating women. This is like being like, haha, all you losers don't get to go into the ice cream shop like this guy does. He broke the window, illegally entered. The reason that these guys have the quote unquote ability to enter the ice cream store or be with multiple women, however crazy that analogy is, you're ignoring the reason they have that ability. And in the case of this, at least based on the video, the context, it's because they're being manipulative.
When I go on like Fresh and Fit or even Access Vegas or like any of the panel show where there's girls in there and stuff, and it's usually not the girls that are on the panel, but it's the women who are responding to the show itself. So it could be like, you know, in the chat, or it could be like in the comments or something like that later on. And I love how we get these women who are like, they used to be red pill females, they used to be red pill women, and now suddenly they turn into tradcon women, and they go, well, if men were better, then women wouldn't have to be on OnlyFans, they wouldn't have to be prostitutes, they wouldn't have to be, they wouldn't be if men were just better men. They don't realize the irony of that statement, which is, well, then that means that women's agency, women's like life and their decision making, they have no free will, because men are the ones that are making that choice for them. Are you correct? Is that correct or is that incorrect? And they'll go,
how do you not understand? It's the manipulation. Do you ever talk about women manipulating men? So do you think that men don't have any autonomy? Do you think that men don't know how to make any decisions without the influence of a woman? It's completely based upon the manipulation. That's like such a key factor that they keep ignoring.
Go, no, we're empowered, we're just victims. And it's what it is it's this feminism. This is, by the way, I'm going to quote Royce here for a second, but feminism is basically it's cognitive dissonance. Women are either superheroes and empowered and can do anything and take on the world and be astronauts and everything, the world is your fucking oyster, or they're also victims, hopeless, horrible victims at the same time.
No, this actually is not paradoxical at all. It's that women have the ability to achieve great things, but sometimes there are still obstacles there that keep them from being able to fully reach their potential.
So whatever scenario, whatever situation applies, a woman can either be a victim or she can be a superhero, and it can do so on the fly. And this is one of those instances, like this, the ice cream scenario was one of those instances. So whenever somebody brings that up and says, well, there would be no, if men didn't have, if there was no demand, there would be no supply, right? Okay, well, if that's the case, then the demand actually controls the will of the supply at that point. That's what happens.
He's saying the demand controls the supply, the will of the supply. So how is that not just reinforcing the straw man argument you made that men are the ones causing? I don't understand this. If the demand is controlling the will of the supply, how is that not just reinforcing the argument that you're supposedly refuting here, which is that men demanding it is what's fueling the market?
So when we're talking about like, men would be better men, or women would be better for men if men would just keep their dicks in their pants and would be more, gentlemen and open doors and chivalry this and bullshit that. It's like, okay, well, what you're basically admitting to is that women's entire agency is based on, well, one, and then two, it's based on the fact that men are the ones that are making the decisions for those women. Do you agree with that? And none of them will ever agree to it.
Because all you just did is make a gigantic straw man. What this is, it's actually getting into a way more in-depth and nuanced conversation about the way that general society and the behavior of others can influence you. This doesn't mean that you've lost your agency or your autonomy, but it means that your agency, your autonomy, the decisions you make are all heavily influenced by external sources. So if you are continuously treated badly by men, that could absolutely influence your behavior in the future, simultaneously causing some issues that the red pill guys frequently complain about in regards to women. When you treat people badly, it can sometimes come back to bite you in the ass, because that's going to influence how they behave. That's going to influence their behavior. And all of that is a bit of a domino effect, really.
Well, isn't it the ultimate peak of that is when they accuse a man of getting them pregnant? It's like, don't you have abortion? Like, don't you have a nuclear option at the end? And it's just, oh, he did this. It takes two to tango. It's like, wait. And you're right. You just flip a flitch. I'm either a superhero or a victim. But ultimately, when now there's a kid involved, whether the one...
What? It does take two to tango. Whoa, what? You can't just say something that's true in a funny voice, and then, that doesn't make it not true anymore, right? Hey, everybody, the sky is blue. Ooh, 1 + 1 = 2. Ooh. It doesn't make it not true anymore, dude. Also, how are you acting like that's not a big deal? Do you realize the way that can completely up a woman's body, even being pregnant for a very short time, even if she has the ability to get an abortion really early on, the way that can cause such severe mental changes and hormonal differences, sometimes causing issues that linger for months, even after terminating the pregnancy. So no, this is like, why are you acting like this is just such an easy thing? Why are you acting like this is just like a walk in the park, like you're with your lady friends? You're like, we're going to stop off at Burger King, get some abortions, then maybe we'll go out later tonight. Like, do you not understand the severity of getting an abortion? Even something as simple as like, I don't know, taking like one of the abortion pill things. Like that can seriously with your body for a long time. It does take two to tango.
Whether the woman wants to have it or not. Then she's like, well, I'm going to flip the switch now to victim, and I need government aid, and the man did this to me. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm exhausted.
What? How is this switching to victim if some irresponsible dickweed got some girl pregnant, she decides she wants to keep it, because according to you, well, she has the option for abortion, so what the fuck is his problem? And then because she wants assistance, now that's her becoming a victim again, playing victim?
By it, and I ain't even in this battle. I'm just sick and tired of the well, I'm over here now, I'm over here now, I'm over here now. I'm like, I don't have time. I think men are getting exhausted about it entirely.
Yeah,
I think men are getting exhausted with you, man. I can tell the exhaustion's wearing on you, though. What are you wearing right now?
I think that's half of the reason. And then what's happening is on top of that, people have to come up with explanations for why that's happening. And they have to find explanations that they can force fit and wedge into their own ideological sort of, worldview right now.
It's hilarious that they're saying this as they are right now taking things like welfare and cramming it in to try to fit their red pill ideology. That is hilarious. It is hilarious that you're trying to say that women getting welfare, this happy cappy over here, saying women getting welfare is then becoming a victim. even if she's like a single mom. Is that not you taking pieces of reality and doing everything you can to shove it into your red pill cognitive dissonance?
So it's the incels. The incels are doing this, and it's some fiendish plot between guys who are like the 4.5%ers, like the Andrew Tates, the Justin Wallers of the world, who can go into the ice cream store before anybody else can go in, and the guys who just like, oh.
It's not great to reference Tate here, considering the investigation and everything. Plus, with your ice cream analogy, okay.
I'm not going to go into the ice cream store. F it, I'm out. God, see you later.
Oh yeah, dude, Red Pill has talked about this stuff so clearly. Like Practical Female Psychology for the Practical Man, David Clare. Womanese, the correct combination of words to elicit the proper response from what you want. If it's true, that's great, but it doesn't have to be. That's all this is. They're saying it. There are victims on one side and heroes on the other because it gets them what they want. It's this true, objective.
So he's projecting. He's trying to say that women are the manipulative ones, that women are all speaking this other language to just get whatever they want. They get pregnant. They didn't want to get pregnant. They got pregnant anyway. They're deciding to keep the baby. Now they want some government assistance because the dad's not involved. And that's them switching the switch. That's them speaking womanese.
I honestly think it's amazing. And the only reason it works on guys is because guys are stupid and they take it literally. You know, they treat women like
Guys are definitely stupid if they're watching this channel for legitimate advice.
men. Well, a man says what he means and means what he says. Well, they don't really. Not in this case.
Yeah.
And that's really the problem, is that you just have to stop taking it seriously and understand they're trying to manipulate you into doing or thinking something. And once you understand that dynamic, the whole thing changes. Now it just becomes like some goofy broad running her mouth and you're like, oh, Jesus, another one of these, huh?
Yeah. I'm starting to get to that point, Ryan, where it's like I'm caring less about like what I know are completely like rejiggered, biased.
Yeah. And dude, if there was some ugly 45-year-old frumpy soccer mom saying this, everybody would understand that. But you put it with a nice set of tits and a set of legs on it, all of a sudden everybody forgets.
Well, what do we, just by the fact they play this game, and I don't give a crap about difference in male female psychology or anything like that. We can all,
yeah, believe me, we know you don't give a shit about that, dude. That wouldn't be compatible with your little red pill you hate women boner, would it now?
They know what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're not stupid.
Yeah, they're not stupid. And men have got to see and peer through this mystical magic words and ooh, titties, flaming hot red tits. They know what they're doing. When they turn on the tears.
What the hell? This is unironically the belief that women just in general are conniving and manipulative. And let me tell you right now, men who believe that are more likely to act out in violence against partners. They're more likely to be okay with violence against the girlfriends of their friends. This is what I mean when I say these guys create the problem and then profit off the problem. They tell men to be this way. Then when men are this way, they have no luck with women. And then when men have no luck with women, they come crawling back to these creeps to get more advice, to figure out what they did wrong. It's honestly a really clever business model. And for this guy giving his big chat here, his big speech about how they know what they're doing, I think these guys might know what they're doing. I think these guys might know that they're setting people up for being incels and failures with women and abusive pieces of shit, because they know that when guys are like that, when they're broken down, hopeless, and angry as at women, they're going to come back to a channel just like this one. That to me sounds a lot more believable than women are all manipulative and all guys should just be seeing through it. So like anytime a woman is talking, it's just always the word games now. Like you're just assuming now that every time a woman's talking, she's lying. Like do you really think that's ever going to lead to success in any kind of a relationship? Probably it wouldn't even lead to a success in a friendship.
It's an act. I'm not even being like edgy on this one. It's so exhausting watching it.
This guy sounds like he would be an absolute horrible partner.
And I love the guy like a brother, but Joker from Better Bachelor, I don't even know if I don't think it's an act, but he's like, oh my God, I can't believe this girl is doing this thing. Like he talks about this gal called Jonah Yachting or something like that in Australia. And she's like, oh my God, I slept with 100,000 people. It's like, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're getting and evoking the response out of you. And I think just step one.
I don't think this guy knew what he was doing when he snorted multiple lines of coke, because he's talking like a maniac.
The ice cream knows when to turn its lid on and off. It will turn its lid off on its own. It has a brain. There's brains in the ice cream. It's not a non-sentient entity.
Well, the ice cream knows how to position itself in the display case.
There are brains in the ice cream, and for the last time, I'm not insane.
So you're
Ice cream will bend over and spread its legs. It'll grow legs and spread it.
Yeah.
Joker knows when he's.
Okay, so this guy's just a huge pervert and a huge piece of shit. These are some pervy, nasty dudes. Listen to that guy. You can just tell the way they talk about women. It's just pure contempt. It's pure hatred.